In The Genesis Effect, Language of My Scars, Bishop Kelly Mashudu Tsedu Muntswu delves into the profound emotional and psychological scars that many individuals carry throughout their lives. And the book serves as a compassionate exploration of just how our backgrounds, past traumas, and failures at large shape our current realities and also emotional states. He addresses the feelings of uselessness and fear that can paralyze individuals, preventing them from advancing in their personal and professional lives. This morning, he joins us in studio to tell us a little bit more. Bishop Kelly, good morning, and thank you for joining us on the SABC at this hour.
Good morning, and how are you doing? It's so good to be here.
It's good to have you, and
Yes.
I am good. Thank you for asking. I trust you're well.
No, I'm comfortable. It has been a journey
Absolutely.
for us to get to this level
Absolutely.
of launching a book in this season.
Let's delve into the offering. Why the need to tell the story? Was it your own personal journey that you were reflecting on? Also, perhaps also coming into contact with other people? What was that inspiration, that source of it all?
Well, the book is a journey of self,
Yeah.
self-discovery. It's a journey of also interaction with other people, also interacting with scriptures. It is also, well, it's not really a Christian book. It's a self-help book. It's a combination, a concoction of experiences, my own experience of life, and the life of those around me. And the book it's really an expression of what one went through in life until this age. Yeah.
Constructs stories in our heads, the framing thereof, understanding that voice
Yes.
as well. I mean, those are some of the concepts that you allude to. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's right. The Genesis effect really is to say to you, you are not what you went through. But what you went through is actually important process to make you a better person. It doesn't help you to ignore, what you went through. But it's also not good for you to be very hard on yourself because of what you went through. It's also therefore very key to know where you come from, that you may be able to march your way forward to where you are going. It's so hard, to come with ideas, concepts, to where you are going when you don't know where you come from. Because I believe that where you come from builds you to where you are going.
Yeah, it serves at a solid foundation.
That's right.
But we're also in that continual process of learning, unlearning, and relearning.
That's
right. The
right.
concept of near success syndrome is something you also explore.
That's right.
How were you at the mercy of that? How did you also begin to reframe it for yourself?
The truth of the matter is you can't ignore, right, that you are born in a family that has a history. It is very important then to know your family history. I mean, people know, they know political history. They know the land, history. They know history of their own political space, but people don't know the history of their own family, I believe that in this book I write that actually what your parents ate, you become. You download what your parents ate. And these are patterns which I establish. And I draw the story from a man called Cain. In the church, that man called Cain, we don't like him very, very much because he becomes the first killer, in the Bible space. But the truth of the matter is there were patterns and systems that this young man was dealing with. But I believe that if he was aware of what he was dealing with, the patterns in the family, he would have probably come up with better patterns, for his own life.
So is that alluding to how scars have a language and how it's important for us to listen to that and then perhaps learn to interpret that given the tools or what's available?
Exactly. Now, it's very key to know that when you've got a scar is a healed wound.
Yes.
A scar says to you, you were wounded before, and now you are healed. Now you speak from a healed place, all right? You know the pain of being wounded, but now you now speak from a healed dimension. And the scars has a language, the scars has a language of expression, which is based on what on what a person went through, in the healing process.
I wonder also just practically, and given the tools available, given how you frame it, the lens you've also written this book through, how do people begin to incorporate the lessons learned? What are the practical steps? It's all well to have it, you know, in the mind and to theorize it, but the reality on the ground is we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with structural inequalities, there's GBV. It's an ongoing scourge that we're facing.
Yes. You see, when you're aware of what you're dealing with, when you're aware of your space around you, I mean, it's one thing to deal with life outside you.
Yes.
But it's one thing when life happens inside you. So when you know what happens to you, when you know what happens around you, you begin to derive, you know, to come up with systems and ways, you know, on how to deal, you know, with your own spaces. This book, you know, it's really a self-help book. I give you solution to say, what do you do when you see that there's a pattern of poverty in your family? For example, if in your family there's poverty as a pattern, obviously you develop a pattern. You go to school, you educate yourself because you know what you're dealing with. So this book actually provides solution for that, to say there are things around your space and this is how you can deal with those things.
What was the biggest inertia you had to overcome within your own self?
Myself is that, you know, I come from Venda, and how I was born, really, poverty becomes the order of the day. You know, when you are so poor that the poor calls you poor, you know, and then you know that the only way out of this is through two things. Number one, education. Number two, through faith. And these are things you develop through the journey of your own self-discovery, but not ignorant of your own, you know, personal scars and where you come from.
How has it been received? I mean, people interacting with this book and obviously also being favored change to the offering. What has that feedback been like?
You know, I'm shocked by the response. It's just amazing. I say to those who want to write books, before you put the ink in the paper, work on yourself, the person, because people don't buy books. They buy a person.
Absolutely.
So I'm very surprised, and we are so thankful with the response, you know, of this book. I mean, on the first week of the launch, we sold over 300 books. You know, the warmth from people we don't even know. You know how the book is just being received. It's just amazing. Yes.
The creative process for you. I mean, how long would it have taken you to put pen to paper? Also, when did you get the inspiration that this was the time? This was needed now.
Yeah. You see, like I'm saying to you, people don't buy books. They buy a person. You work on yourself. And the self, you know, begin to place a demand on people. It took long. I mean, I think I took over almost 8 years, you know, to get the strength to bring this book into existence. Because also, you know, you're dealing with issues, you know, of low self-esteem, you know. You're also working on yourself. The book itself also work on you. But amazingly, how the country received, the US, you know, received the books, Nigeria received the book. So the reception is really amazing.
Well, it's we wish you all the best from here and too. And thank you for your offering. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing your story as well, for helping us heal. I know that you are only a vessel.
Yes.
But thank you for your time. I'm going to leave the conversation there for now.